And we turn now to Arizona Democratic Senator Mark Kelly, who joins us from Tucson. Senator, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Margaret.
I have a lot to get to with you, but I want to start on this issue. Our viewers remember, of course, that your wife, Congresswoman Gabby Giffords, was critically injured in a shooting many years ago. You've made gun safety a real priority issue. Your colleague, Senator Murphy of Connecticut, said to me recently, something is dying inside the soul of this nation. Do you think America's numb to gun violence?
Well, I don't think we're numb to it, and it's really heartbreaking to see moms across the country terrified about sending their kids to school. I mean, it's not the country we should live in. I have a 2-year-old granddaughter, and in her preschool, she's already gone through one lockdown. Now, she's 2, she doesn't know what it was, but I mean, this, if we don't make some serious change, this is going to be her experience growing up. We have some of the most permissive gun laws in the world, and we have some of the highest levels of gun violence. We passed this bipartisan Safer Communities Act. It is a step in the right direction, but it's only one step, and there is more we can do.
On that law, as we just talked about with Mr. Hutchinson, it gave $1 billion for school mental health resources. About $188 million has been awarded to about 30 states so far. Is that money moving fast enough? Is there more that can be done with these resources already allocated?
Well, I think this issue is so important to address and so tragic. And, you know, Margaret, I'm a gun owner. I'm a supporter of the Second Amendment, but we make it so easy for irresponsible people and criminals to get access to firearms. There are 3 schools in Arizona that have already gained access to this money, but, you know, moving it into the states and into communities faster is going to be helpful. Yeah,
well, it only really began moving in February. You just heard Asa Hutchinson, who was running for president, talk about institutionalizing people with mental health issues to avoid mass shootings. It's something that Mike Pence, the former vice president who's running, also said at the NRA this weekend. He also called for the death penalty for mass shooters. How do you assess those solutions?
Well, Governor Hutchinson also said that he didn't want to compel states to comply with the red flag laws. You know, we provided money, and it's voluntary for states. We could make that mandatory. Red flag laws work. I mean, we have data that shows that in states that have red flag laws, you prevent gun violence. So that's certainly a place to start. And we provided money for mental health services. We've got a mental health crisis in our country. There's more we can do. But, you know, listen to the former vice president to say that this isn't about, you know, firearms, not about guns. I mean, it is. I mean, we just make it way too easy. How about, you know, more background checks? You know, here in the state of Arizona or Texas or many places, you can go to a gun show and get a gun without a background check. That doesn't make sense to most Americans.
We have to take a break here, Senator. I want to talk to you on the other side of it about your recent trip to Ukraine and other issues. So please stay with us. More from Senator Kelly in 1 minute. We're back now with Arizona Senator Mark Kelly. Senator, I know you just returned from Ukraine. So I want to ask you about this news that we got confirmed essentially this week in these leaked Pentagon documents that estimate Ukraine will deplete their stock of anti-aircraft missiles within weeks. It's been widely reported how quickly they're going through ammunition. How concerned are you that this is going to give Russia the opportunity to have air superiority?
Well, Margaret, I spent 25 years in the United States Navy. I flew in combat. This is my first time I've actually, you know, went to a war zone, a country that's been brutally attacked by Vladimir Putin. There's war crimes committed every day. I mean, the situation is just heartbreaking. You know, one of the things we were looking at was, you know, their ammunition supply. I don't want to comment specifically on the classified intelligence here, but we have to make sure that we continue to give them the weapons and the weapon systems that they need to be successful. We cannot allow Putin to win this thing. I mean, he said what his plan is. I mean, he wants to rebuild the Soviet empire, and if we don't stop him in Ukraine, I mean, there is no telling where he will go next.
But when you say more ammunition, you specifically mean more anti-aircraft missiles now.
No, I mean, there's, rounds for their howitzers. They need to, their air defense system is challenged as well. I mean, that's what you're specifically talking about. Neither Russia nor Ukraine have air superiority at this time. That's important in a combat zone, and to get it is challenging, and they're using a lot of their weapons. I mean, HIMARS is another example. So the purpose of this trip was to see what they need, see what we can supply. I'll go back to DOD and to the administration and give them, my assessment of what the situation in Ukraine is.
President Biden has said they don't need F-16s. You disagree?
Well, I think it's something we need to look at, and I've communicated that to the Department of Defense and the administration. We recently evaluated here in Arizona, in Tucson, where I live, 2 Ukrainian F-16 pilots. I spoke to the instructor pilots. It's still unclear exactly how they want to use the F-16. They're looking for the next game changer. F-16 is not an artillery piece. It's not a tank. It's very complicated and hard to maintain.
Yeah.
We've also looked at some other options. I mean, there are other countries that have F-16s as well. That might become an option, but it's going to take some time. I mean, the assessment here is it'll take about a year to train, 12 Ukrainian, if we go that route, 12 Ukrainian MiG-29 pilots.
Senator Kelly, it's good to have you on the program. We hope to have you back. We're going to have to leave it there for today.